Okay, certain Nasdaq stocks, including KLAC, LAM, Research, NVIDIA, Qualcomm, Texas Instruments, are expected to rise as the later half of the year passes. Right? What factors are driving these expectations?
It goes back to what we talked about in the S&P, that the market is rigged to stay up, and now institutions, institutional investors, funds, fund of funds, or everybody's latching on to the winner. So like NVIDIA's had an incredible run. I like Lam Research, ticker LRCX. They've had an incredible year. They opened up at 678. They're at 1032 right now. What Bitcoin ushered, and we have to give Kathy credit, who I was on stage with last year in Novogratz. Thank you guys for that. What she did usher in was to break the norm of people wanting more than 7 to 12% gains. So I know people are worried about, well, will the second half of the year be terrible? No, not if S&P gets to 5,600. A lot of these are going to get drug up as well. I like Lam Research, of course. I love NVIDIA. Texas Instruments are solid. Microsoft will be great. Apple, even though I think they're making a gateway for big government to be able to spy on everything we do even more with the partnership with OpenAI, they're going to be fine. Amazon's doing incredibly well. It gets back to my biggest thesis, is that the market is rigged to stay up. Just hold your money in for the longest period of time that you can, and you will get rich. Like, stop expecting, like, we're not going to have a 50% meltdown. This is not 1999. It's not 2000. Most of those companies were not producing profit. Some of these companies are making more money than countries. Stop betting against the trend, the wave. Stop trying to reverse the course of history. Hold for the long term, and you'll be good.
Yeah, these are stocks that are part of the semiconductor, the AI economy, right?
Yep.
And so it makes sense if you're talking about, and specifically, I like Lam Research and Qualcomm because they have a unique set of points that they're ahead of the curve when it comes to the other semis. Lam Research, definitely when it comes to creating, and I need everybody to do their own homework on this. I want you to look up what a nanosheet is. If you understand what a nanosheet is, then you would understand how this process, why NVIDIA, AMD, why these chips make sense, and why they all don't produce the same thing. So Lam Research, they produce the transistors that stack the size of these nanosheets, right? In some cases, they said that they control 100% of the market share for that process.
Yeah.
100% of the market share.
Nice monopoly to have, right?
Like, we're not talking like they own like 60% of 100% of the market share when it comes to that. So if you're talking about nanosheets, obviously, which are what a lot of these chips are put on, I mean, that is a monopoly in a sense. Qualcomm, specifically when you're talking about smartphones, right? So like this is, all semis are not created equal. We obviously know smartphones, but they're more so in the Android products. Android have a bunch of different phones. I know here we just think Apple, iPhone, and we think, oh, the Android is one phone. No, the different companies use the process. So Qualcomm is part of that, and it's starting to move into some of the automobiles. You're starting to see specifically the Snapdragon processor being used in different industries, and so you're seeing it in BMW. They have a deal, some other automobile companies. So you're starting to see it. So knowing that there's a different, like, we just hear these companies and we think they all do the same thing. No, each semi has a different purpose. Each company has a different purpose. Some of them have specific purposes, and like we said with Lam Research, they pretty much you have to go to them, right? When you're talking about some of the steps to make these chips functional, it's tough. I mean, where you supposed to go? You have to use them.
Homework assignment of the week: Rita's Barron's top CEO list. Dara was in there. Thank you for not reverse spin kicking me when we were at the White House. But if you look at CEO Qualcomm's up 78% this year. Like, if you just read diligently every day, all the secrets are there. Homework assignment, go read it, whether online. If you have the physical version, even better. But you'll see the CEOs that are on the list, how they're looking to change the next 5 or 6 years, 7 years. They're basically telling you, like, who are the up and coming stars. Qualcomm is here to stay. Of course, NVIDIA, AMD, SMCI. Like, I put an article in Stock Club as well about everyone who Apple works with to put their phone together. Those companies are doing incredibly well. So just pay attention. Like, I think the big thing that we all are trying to stress Trevor Shot, myself. It's like, pay attention to what actually pays. You know what don't pay? Gossip.
No, sir. No, sir.
Doesn't work.
No, sir.
Does not work.
Hit the like button and share. And I will say this, as far as InvestFest, we have addressed some concerns. The line will be more efficient this year. We have a logistics team, so you don't have to wait online for a long periods of time. We're in a different hall. We're in a hall that we were 2 years ago, not last year. So there's no escalator to take, and the sound has been greatly improved. So if you're all the way in the back, there will be no echo. We have a different room.
Smart.
We have carpet.
Different setup.
We have carpet.
Yep.
Had it on the wall. Send me an invoice if y'all need me to. You know,
yeah, we just that's why I say it's about making it an elevated experience, right?
Yep.
Like you can have 30,000 people, but what about the 20,000 that came? Let's just elevate the experience for them, and let's make it impactful.
Yeah, for sure. So we have heard some concerns,
yes,
and it will be a better experience as far as the line and the sound, for sure. Definitely.
And we got some crazy. We'll talk about some other things later. I don't want to give everything away.
Tesla's internal data shows the company has reduced its workforce by at least 14% this year.
Yep.
What are the implications of this for Tesla's operation and stock performance?
Usually this would be a point where I rail on Tesla, but I'm not. I think you have to cut costs if the stock is not performing well. Some interesting partnerships are being talked about with him and Dell and NVIDIA. So I think he's trying to find a way to be more efficient. And going back, Zuckerberg really ushered this era in of big CEOs being a lot more efficient. Shout out to Fat Man Scoop. I was talking to him this past week, and he was like, why don't you hire more staff? And I'm like, why, if we have all these automation tools? And I was on this like in 2020. So I think people are just trying to find a way to be more efficient and give the investor class a reason to invest in the company long term. While they have a bunch of weaknesses right now in the company, they got to take some of their money off the books to be able to reinvest and reapply it into the company. So to anyone who's been laid off, my apologies and my prayers go out to you, but this is the right thing for them to do at this time while the stock is trying to find its way back above some of these moving averages.
Yeah, you got to have the bottom line number has to meet the expectation of the stock.
That makes sense.
And so part of it, and we talk about all the time, sometimes people are going to have to lose their jobs. And this is part of it. You cut jobs, but you have to do more with less. And obviously we've seen with AI, and they're creating their own AI. So you can understand why. I mean, this doesn't really shock me that they cut the workforce. I feel like if you look at the top market cap companies, we've seen pretty much all of them, outside of maybe Apple, who hasn't reported that large of a job cut. All of them have done it. Microsoft did it. We saw Meta definitely do it. We saw Google do it. I mean, it doesn't shock that Tesla's now doing it. People are going to do less with more. That's going to be something that's going to be continuous over the next 5-10 years. And so you got to figure out a way to make yourself more useful and make sure that you're able to prompt the AI that is going to be working with you or replacing you, pretty much.
And if I ask for $56 billion, I got to get some money off the books, because when y'all pay me, it's really going to throw the books in the shambles. So
that meet the bottom line number, man.
At all costs.
At all costs, right. Yeah, so like even with the reports, when we were talking about when it was coming into its earnings, we saw a reduction in the amount of vehicles they were producing. We saw a reduction in the amount of sales. Having a job cut, I mean, that's part of it. So I would expect the next quarter, when they report, obviously with the no delays being reported, we cut some jobs. I'd expect them the stock to tick up a little bit.
Stock opened up at 250 this year. It is at 189.